In today's video, we're benchmarking the new Battlefield 5 with some budget graphics cards, and for the first time ever, I'm benchmarking 10 total graphics cards from the super budget GT 1030 and 750 Ti all the way up to a 1060 and an RX 580. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf. Today we're going to be benchmarking the new Battlefield 5 with some budget graphics cards. And if you're new here and you want to see more benchmarking or PC building videos, then hit that subscribe button down below and also that notification bell. That way you never miss an episode. But yeah, before we start benchmarking, let me quickly introduce the sponsor of today's video, Dev Mountain. Dev Mountain is a 13-week class for all of you aspiring iOS and web developers out there. Their 13-week class focuses on providing you only the skills that you actually need to go out there and start your new career in coding. They don't waste time with the filler curriculum like at a traditional college. They also feature student housing at no extra cost, a variety of different classes including UX design and QA testing, and most importantly, all of this is available at an affordable price. Head on down to that first link in the description to learn more if you're interested in getting that quick boost you need to start your new career in coding and design. Alright, so unlike my previous benchmarking videos, today I'm bringing 10 total graphics cards to the table, and I kind of have a feeling that a lot of you are rocking at least one of these cards. The GPUs we're benchmarking today are the GT 1030, GTX 660 Ti, GTX 750 Ti, GTX 960, GTX 970, GTX 1050 Ti, GTX 1060, the R7 360, RX 460, and finally the RX 580. Now I know some of you might get a little triggered when I include cards like the RX 580 and GTX 1060 in a budget benchmarking video, but honestly, here in the United States, you can find any one of these cards very easily for less than 150 bucks, so I think it's safe to say that these are all budget graphics cards at this point. Our testing platform today is a little more upgraded than our normal Dell Optiplex testing rig because I wanted to make sure that we weren't bottlenecked by the processor, because we all know that Battlefield games love to hit the CPU hard. This rig is rocking a Ryzen 5 2600X at stock speeds, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM clocked at 2933 MHz, and the games are installed on a Seagate 7200 RPM hard drive. And yes, this is the exact build that I just used in my $1,000 all AMD build guide, so be sure to check out that video if you haven't already. Going back to the CPU discussion, no, I don't really like benchmarking something like a GT 1030 with a Ryzen 5. I understand that nobody on the entire planet is going to do that, but like I said, Battlefield 5 loves to hit the CPU hard, so I personally feel like this is the best way to test this wide of a range of graphics cards. Some other quick things to note before getting into the actual benchmarks is that for every single one of these cards, I did my benchmarking in a 64-player online match on the Araz map to try to keep it consistent. Throughout this video, you'll see that I played on other different maps, but that's purely just so the video isn't super boring. For the actual benchmark, I only use that one single map. The second thing to note is that I only tested these graphics cards with DirectX 12 disabled, as I was getting way better performance with DX11. I do realize that EA said that they patched it up with the latest update, but even so, I was consistently getting better results without DX12, so I just kept it off for this video. Alright, so here are the results for every single card with the exact same settings so that you can compare them side by side. I'll show you what specific settings you should use for each of these cards in just a bit. For this graph, I put the settings at 1080p, 100% resolution scale, and low settings. The only real surprises for me are just how much the RX 580 dominated over the 1060 and how much the 660 Ti dominated over the 750 Ti. Very interesting results. Alright, so now I'm going to show you the settings that I would personally use for each of these graphics cards, and keep in mind that I'm always aiming for around that 60 FPS mark, so you can obviously change these settings to your liking. Well, there you have it. That wraps up my Battlefield 5 benchmarking video with some budget graphics cards. Overall, Battlefield 5 actually came pretty optimized right out of the box. I just wish the RTX performed a little bit better with my 2080 Ti, but we'll talk about that later. Now feel free to head on over to one of these two videos if you haven't seen them yet, and definitely hit that subscribe button because later this week, we're doing that benchmarking video that you've all been asking for. You don't want to miss that video.